You are helpless. You have to. How do you keep people alert? How do you keep people aware? Communicate in such a way that they become alive. Small simple activities. Is that alright? Shall we do a small post-lunch activity? Are you okay? Will you participate? Will you do? No problem? Excellent. You are very good. We will go into jungle. क्या करें? जंगल में क्या करें? जंगल में मंगल करें. ठीक है? We will cut some trees, not real trees, imaginary trees. How do you cut a tree? What you have to need to cut a tree? क्या चाहिए आपको? Axe चाहिए. Wonderful. One, please listen carefully. One is picking up an axe. Picking up an axe. Two is making a mark on the trunk of the tree where you want to cut the tree. Two is making a mark on the trunk of the tree where you want to cut the tree. Three is very crucial, very very important. Giving some nice big strong hits. Pat. And four is very crucial. What is four? Giving a big push. ठीक है? आप ready हैं? Please खड़े हो जाइए. Please stand up. आराम से. Don't struggle yourself. Happily, joyfully. But the problem is our body has become very rigid, very hard. Because we are not used to this kind of hard work. So first is, please move the body. आराम से. Easily, आराम से. खुल के, give enough space. आराम से. Move the beautiful body. Feel the energy. Feel the movement. Feel the friends. Feel the passion. आराम से. Do you feel the warmth? Do you feel the energy? Do you feel the strength? Do you feel the wonderful, beautiful? Feel so agile. Feel so nice. Excellent. Are you feeling the warmth? Are you ready to cut the tree? Excellent. That is the spirit. Okay, are you ready now? Now I am ready. Okay. Very carefully. Don't hurt your back. One. Pick your pen. One. Very good. Excellent. Two. Three is very important. जोर लगा के ऐसा, दम लगा के ऐसा, होश लगा के ऐसा, सब लगा के ऐसा. Last is what? Four is what? Push. What push? Big tree. It must come from here. Ha! That ha must come from here. Are you ready? It must come from here. जोर लगा के, दम लगा के. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ha! Great. Thank you so much. Please sit back. आराम से बैठ जाइए. If you wish, I leave it to you. Whatever you do in the class, he's asking, can you do in the class? Whatever you can do, if you are comfortable. Students are comfortable. Don't suddenly jump on them. Okay. वो सोच लगेगी इस बंदे को क्या हो गया? कल तक तो ये ठीक था, आज क्या हो गया? So take it easy, okay? Because one thing you must very clearly understand: students have a particular image about teachers. They always meet us with a certain image. Unfortunately, that image, because they have met teachers in the primary school, high school, middle school, and unfortunately, that image can be very difficult, very ugly, very difficult image. They are not against you and me. For them, we are all teachers. And they are always suspicious. Not always themselves. They have that concern, the deep hesitation, the deep inhibition. Not easy. What is most essential? How to make them feel safe? That image has to be erased. They must very clearly see this man, this woman is also a human being. They also have blood. They also have flesh. They also smile, they also cry. They're just like you and me. They must very clearly see. This teacher is concerned about my progress. He is my well-wisher. He is not against me. He is my friend. He wants to support me. He wants to take care of me. That they must very clearly see. The problem is they become unpredictable. We have become unpredictable. When you get up in the morning, you tell your wife, "Tu meri jaan, tu meri rani, tu meri ishq, tu meri mohabbat." The same by evening you are willing to kill her. Am I right? Not you, we. Okay. And when a person becomes unpredictable, that means they don't realize when they are going to smile, when they are going to shout, when they are going to hug, when they are going to kill. And when one person becomes unpredictable, what is the best way to be the person who is not predictable? stay away. Exactly, you keep a safe distance. Kyun musibat lo? Are you following me? That's exactly what they do. They want to come close, but they cannot come close because they say this gap. Because now I am smiling, next minute I can finish you. That's why they're hesitant. They want to come close, but they're hesitant. This you must very clearly understand. If I have to make you feel safe, that image has to be erased. They must very clearly see whatever may happen is my friend. They always will be in my well-wisher. That they must very clearly see. Unfortunately, they never see as well-wisher. That has to be communicated. How do you communicate that? We will see. But is it clear to you? The biggest problem learning is not happening is because learning has become very passive. Learning has become passive. Learning has to become somehow, not easy, somehow you have to make the process, beautiful process, an active process. A very important session in the afternoon. What we can do as teachers? We don't have extraordinary powers, you see. In my own way, remarkable way, limited way, what is that I can do in my classroom so that learning happens? First is you have to do few activities. Activities are important because in that activity, you create that passion, you create that activity so that learning happens. Activity is also important that in that activity you come to know how much they have learned. So that you can give, feedback. Two things, giving feedback and getting feedback. Are you following me? Which is more important? Is it possible to make them get without you telling them, is it possible to make them see how much they are learning? Are you following me? Whenever they do an activity, they will get a feedback. He is able to do it, I am not able to do it. Are you following me? This they must be able to see. That means they very clearly see where they stand. It is not essential. Of course, once in a while you may have to give feedback, but what is more powerful is you make them to get the feedback indirectly. They very clearly see, I am not learning this, I am not capable of this, I am not able to do this. And that's only possible when you create some activities. They very clearly see, I am falling short in this idea. That will alert them. If they are sensitive, that will alert them. This is very essential. Are you following me? Are you getting me? Somehow you have to make them see that I am not learning. It's a very powerful tool, creating activities. To give feedback and also see that they are getting feedback. Indirectly they are getting feedback. You don't have to do anything. Just create a situation where they are able to get the feedback. And that's possible when you create certain beautiful activities. Simple activities, but very powerful activities. Thank you so much. We'll start the afternoon with a very important session, breaking the monotony. Two things, making the learning more active so that they're able to learn. At the same time, they're able to get the feedback. Thank you so much. Please sit back, rest, relax. Anytime you can stop us, you can ask for clarification. Okay. Thank you so much. We begin the afternoon by a very important session. Breaking the, not the anatomy, breaking the monotony.
Very good afternoon. Very good afternoon. Very good afternoon. Very good afternoon. This session, as you can see, is titled Breaking the Monotony, and it has got a running title of Dipsticks to Fathom Student Understanding. I think these two terms have to be clarified. Dipsticks means what? What is a dipstick? Have you heard of this word dipstick? Anywhere, any place, dipstick. You have used it. Those who have cars, I'm sure you would have used a dipstick. The oil, yes. Actually, the word dipstick, today, of course, people know dipstick as when you want to test sugar in urine, you do a dipstick. That dipstick test they call it. That's it. Actually, the word dipstick came from automobile. That is, you dip into the oil and see how much, approximately you get an idea. So, we are using the word dipstick in the context of we are dipping into the mind of the student. Fathom is what cannot be easily measured, you try to measure. You can't be accurate. Dipsticks are never accurate. It only approximately tell you how much oil is there. Similarly, when you are dipping into the mind of the student, you can never be sure. You can't be accurate. But in some way, approximately you know that the student has got an idea. So that's why this session is titled Dipsticks to Fathom Student Understand. Very difficult to measure. We are trying to, the word fathom is used when measuring becomes a little difficult. It is some sort of a approximation. Then we use the word fathom. So now I'm going to give you, each one of you, 53 methods by which you can break the monotony. 53 activities which you give your students. Mind you, these are activities the students will perform, not you. You have taught something and the student has to perform an activity. Based on that activity, you know whether the student has understood or learned or at least got a hang of it. So, there are 53 activities which are listed. It's going to be given to each one of you. Before you, just 5 minutes. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Before you look into that, there is something that I would request you to do. Think of a topic. Think of a topic that you have taught or you intend to teach. So that's the first thing. Any topic in your discipline. So that's the first thing. Think of any topic that you might be teaching. So recognize or identify a topic that you intend to teach or you have taught recently. Any topic in your discipline. That is the first thing you have to do. Please do that. Eventually you need not tell me. It is for you to just keep that topic in mind. Now, keeping this topic in mind, you will have to select 3 dipsticks. Out of this 53, there are 53. So out of the 53, which I'm going to give you, the list of 53, once you get it, you may need to go through it. It will take some time, few minutes for you, because it's very simple. Once you see it, you know it will not take very much time. So quickly run through the 53. Some will be familiar, some will not be familiar. You don't worry, what is unfamiliar, leave it alone. So what I would request you to do, based on the topic that you have chosen, based on your subject, based on the level of the students, you decide from the 53 which 3 I can use as activities which I give my students. So that is the task that you will perform. So now you will get the handout. Take some time to go through. They are very self-explanatory. The dipstick is there, explanation is there. Some may not be familiar, don't worry about it, leave it. But what is important is, from the 53, after you glance through the 53, pick up any 3. This is an individual task. You will decide based on the topic and the level. So now you will get the 53. These are the 2 things you have to do. Topic you have already chosen, whatever you have taught. And second, now select any 3 out of the 53 that you have in the list. Mind you, these are activities you will ask your students to do. You have taught something, based on what you have taught, you are telling the students, please do these activities. So which 3 would you like to do? And it will vary from, there is so much of variation because you teach different subjects and you teach different levels of students. you need not tell me. You can keep it as an individual selection. It is with you. At this point of time, you don't have to share it with anyone. It is possible some of them are unfamiliar to you. Don't worry about it. You can leave them. Whatever is familiar to you, you will naturally select things which are familiar to you. Don't describe, just select any three. You may just select, that's all. Yes, on the basis of the topic that you have chosen, level of the students, considering that some people may be able to do certain things. So keeping that in mind, select any three lists. You may indicate your choice by ticking it or writing the number somewhere. You know. Topic that you are going to be, you will select three of the activities which the students will do. It's appropriate, yes, since he's in design. His students will be very good at drawing. Please note that. Certain disciplines, they may not be great in drawing. So if you give them an activity in drawing, they will enjoy doing it, they will be comfortable. But that's why I said, the topic that you choose and the level of your students will determine what you are going to give them. Is it done? Can I go to the next step? Very quickly select any three. It's only an exercise that you're having, so you need not be worrying about the rightness or the wrongness of that selection. Don't worry about that. Done? 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 Yes. More or less. Done? Done? Yeah. Anybody interested? Now I'm going to the next step. Yeah. We'll go to the next step. Please watch very carefully what we're going to do now. The third step is very simple. You have chosen three activities which your students are going to do based on what you have taught them. Understand? Please remember, every activity takes time. So let us look at it in the context of time. And let us look at it in the context of complexity. The task may be complex, or I'm going to give you a handout with this, so you don't have to draw this. In the two dimensions, the time dimension and the complexity dimension. This means this will take less time, this will take more time. Here, less complex task, more complex task. So I'm going to now divide this into 4 quadrants. I'm going to give a handout which will be having exactly this. We'll have 4 quadrants. This we call as A quadrant. A quadrant is more time, more complex. B quadrant is more time, less complex. The task is not very complicated for the student. C quadrant takes less time, less complex. And the last one, D, more complex and less time. Whether it is possible, we'll see. Now, we have 4 quadrants. Each one of you, when I give you the sheet, will place your dipsticks in one of the 4 quadrants. If you have chosen, say, dipstick number 30, let us say you have taken 30 or 59 or whatever it is, that number you will have to write in the respective quadrant. This is again your own assessment. In my opinion, my students will take more time and it will be more complex for the student. So you place it in A. Or if you feel the task I am giving now, this particular dipstick is less time, less complex, easily they will do it, put it in C. So please do that. I'll give you the handout. You will just have to write the dipstick number. It's again an individual task which you are doing. Yes.
But complexity in what?
Complexity in the sense, I'll say difficulty for the student. Difficulty for the student. How difficult it will be for a student.
Generally we associate it with time.
That's what you have to see now. Some things we'll decide, we'll debate that. So, some tasks may be, I put it this way, not necessarily difficulty is one aspect of it, but it might require a little more organization, planning, and much more effort than simply just answering, name, like that. That type of things are there. Where it is not very complex, it is just recalling of information. In that sense. Yes, definitely. It can lie in more than one location, but for that activity, for that level of student, you put, and it might change also. Once the level of the students change, or the topic also will determine, so it will change. Nothing is static. And you may even observe, two of you in the same discipline would have put it in different quadrants. It is again your perception. That's what I am asking. You have to put it in one place. Make a choice. It's possible that all the 3 may come into one quadrant. It is possible that some quadrants may not be occupied at all. Don't worry about that. Just write in each quadrant, write the dipstick number. That's all. Dipstick number to be written in each quadrant.
Relative also instead of selected 3, one is related to the other.
Yeah, sure, no problem. But place those 3 dipsticks in the quadrants.
Related to each other or independent?
Independent. You may find all of them coming into one quadrant also.
One is as compared to the other one.
That's okay, no, but you have selected 3, no? 3. So you place those 3 anywhere in those 4 quadrants. Any extras are there in the second? No, I need it. This one. That, no, please don't submit. No, what you have filled up, you don't submit. This is only the blank forms I want. What you have filled up, please keep with you. Now we'll go to the next step. If you have done this, have you made the entries?
Yes, sir.
Which one do you want? Oh, this one, yes. Please write the numbers. You should complete this, only then we can go to the next step. So each one of you will have a sheet with the 4 quadrants, and you would have entered 3 dipsticks and placed them in one of these quadrants. Please write it in the quadrants, appropriate quadrant which you have chosen. Sometimes no, not necessarily. You may have 1 box free, or even 3 boxes can be free. It all depends, because it doesn't mean that one dipstick should come in a different quadrant. It's possible all the 3 dipsticks may go into one quadrant. So you may have 3 quadrants free, you may have 2 quadrants free, or you may have 1 quadrant free. Anything is possible. It all depends on where you place it. If you have done that, now I want the next step, and that is a table compilation. That is a consolidation of these dipsticks table wise. That means I will be giving one more sheet, that is the master sheet. This master sheet will capture all your entries in this. So your entry you will enter, your entries, that means there will be one master sheet which will have all your entries. So you retain your individual one, but in this master sheet, please enter. Each table will have one. This is the master sheet representing each table. Because I want to ask you for a table score later. Yeah, write the number. And it's possible the number may appear, the same number may appear in different, don't worry about it. You should just enter without any deletion, no addition, just have a table compilation. Table compilation. Each of you enter the table. But you may, yeah, this is. Simplest way is you can just pass it to each one, he makes an entry, or one person can function as the writer, whatever be the. So have this one sheet. Yes. Now keep it with you. Now we'll go to the next step. Have you done table compilation is over? This table, are you done? The table is done. Table done. 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 You are done. Done. Okay, now we'll go to the next step. Step 5. On each table, please discuss which is the most populated quadrant. This is a group activity. On each table, please decide. There are 3 things you have to do. Please listen to me for a second. Then which is most populated? Which is least populated? Which quadrant is least populated? So this is easy, but the task doesn't end there. You have to say why. Why you think it is most populated? Why you feel it is least populated? And I also want each table to pick up two unfamiliar dipsticks. On the table, you decide, okay, I don't know anything about these two dipsticks. So, three things you have to do in this. This is a group activity. Two unfamiliar, which you don't know anything about. Or you are curious to know, you are eager to know. You decide, now each table to work together. Each table to work together and decide on these three.
To explain the students all the things, so it requires more time. Subject पढ़ा रहे हैं, उसके accordingly स्टूडेंट के लिए एक्सप्लेनिंग getting the time का मेरा जो टॉपिक है ना 50%.
You don't know anything about your thing. I don't know anything about
कर रहे हैं वो स्टूडेंट के लिए
select any two. Two unfairly, you have 53 districts. Perhaps you don't know anything about this example. You don't know anything, what is this color? I don't know anything about it. You want to know, you are curious to know about this color. So you make a list, just make a list. So you need to come forward.
अच्छा जाना है
जैसे इवेंट द पेज आपने
कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी टाइम
पूरे को एक्सप्लेन नहीं कर उसका उल्टा भी दोनों ही हम जब हम क्रिएट
ये तो बायो को
कितना पड़ेगा यहाँ पर टीचर्स
1%. मैम इसका दो अनफैमिलियर बेसिकली ये
Yes, full because unfamiliar means from the 53, are there two districts about which you want to know something? Basically, you are eager to know. I don't know anything about it. So if I know about it, I can probably tell my students. So you just become curious about 2 or 3 districts. So when you think, yeah. Same. So you mentioned that you got it. So no problem. Who will be
Are you ready? Can you start?
Are you ready? So what are you going to do now? We are going to ask each table. I am going to start with Dr. Pooja Jain. She is going to present on behalf of her table which is the most populated quadrant, which is the least populated, why they felt this is most populated, what's the reason for it. And then they are also going to tell me 2 districts about which they are eager to know something. I don't know anything about it. Something is there, 53, I didn't even look at it. I'm not familiar with it. Or I'm just wanting to know a little more about it. So come, please come here and present. Please come.
Third one. Please. Third one like this. More time and less time. 31.
Good afternoon, everyone. For the most populated quadrant, we have chosen B, more time and less complex. My table has chosen that.
You have B as the most populated. That means, okay, less complex, but it took some time. Okay, fine.
Yes. For the less populated, A, quadrant A has been chosen.
How many were there in A?
Sir, in B we had 5
Okay.
and A had 2.
2. Okay. Fine. Any reason why?
Because A is more time, more complex. So, going with your own experiment which you read, because the more, even if we are giving more time to the students, the things are very complex. I mean, whatever, the students are not able to get that very quickly. So, only 2 we have in that particular quadrant.
Okay, since you made that point, I have a question to the group. Where will the learning be more?
Unfair.
When will the learning be more? In which quadrant? I know it's difficult to generalize. I'm just asking a question. More learning is possible when?
Less complex and more time.
Basic electronics.
Okay, we leave it. I won't answer that. We'll see. We'll see. What? We'll see. It all depends on the topic. It's difficult to generalize. That's fine. Okay. Then.
And for the unfamiliar dipsticks, we have dipstick number 7.
Okay, I'll go to 7 first.
Yeah.
Yeah. They want to know something about 7. It's possible that some of you have also chosen 7. Now let us see 7. What is 7? 7 is clickers. Yeah. Now I
Rethinking. Yeah.
just tell you what is clickers.
New idea.
Yeah. Now this is basically
Next thing is this time.
a system of getting response from students. That is, if you are aware of this clicker system, as you can see, this can even be used on the mobile. There is something called Kahoot. It is basically clicker. Most of you would have seen these on TV. They use the clicker and so many people have said yes. Basically, it is something which you can have in the class. Kahoot is something which is there. Ask them to bring their mobiles. Very strange. As a teacher, you say, please bring your mobile. We are going to use the mobile. Students are going to get excited because today they are in that world. And they download Kahoot and you ask a question related to your subject. What are the, give 4 choices. And if A is the correct choice, if most of them have got A right, then you know that I'm not interested who went wrong. I'm interested if all of you have got it right or if you have got it. So that is clicker. The other one is, of course, there are more cruder versions. You can have 4 cards: green card, yellow card, white card, and red card. Then you say, if answer to this is something, you raise the green. So you raise the green. So based on that, it is possible for you. So basically, it is getting an audience score. Audience score is something which all of you have seen on TV.
So in order to analyze the majority of the audience.
Yes, you will know that. It's a very quick one. It's almost instant.
Yes.
And the Kahoot, those of you interested, Kahoot, it is an online system. All of us can. It's easily downloadable. Students are very fast. Only we teachers are little one generation behind. But the students will do it very fast. And you can do that. But that is clickers, the response system. Very quickly you get a response. What's the second one?
The second one is dipstick number 45, bio poem.
Bio poem.
To describe a character or a person, write a poem that includes, and there are 10 lines.
Yes. See this biopoem, I'm going to read a biopoem to you. And you will immediately understand. I'll go to the biopoem which, okay. This is a biopoem. We manage people in organizations. In all institutions across the nation, we do appraisal of performance and abide by a standard conformance. We also look into employees recruitment. Can you guess our department? So, this is a biopoem. So, just showing you an example, I'll give you another example. Will not take this. Okay. Unless some force applies a nudge, a body simply will not budge, but rests if it's at rest already, or else it's going straight and steady. A body takes a faster ride directly as the force applies. Double its former mass and you divide its previous speed by 2, but fast or slow, it lays its force in the direction of the force. This is biopoem. You ask some students may be good at writing poems. You tell them, come create something. Not everybody in the group may be good, but some will be good in writing. So you put them in groups. Many of these activities which you give is best given in groups. Don't give it to them as individuals. Because in a group, one might be a painter, one might be a poet, one might be a sketch expert. Anything is possible. So it's nice they work collaboratively. In that collaborative work, there is learning and there is fun. That's what I'm saying. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now let's go to table 4. Dr. Ikras. But yes, but I think they will hear you better. Please, if you can talk. Please.
Good afternoon. For the most populated is C. And the reason for that one is it will break the monopoly of the students. Majority of them will be able to participate. And
C. Okay.
C. Least is A.
Least is
A.
A. Okay.
And unfamiliar 7 has already been described.
Yes.
That is 15, mind map.
Mind map. Okay, that is 15. We'll go to 15. 15 is the mind map. A mind map is nothing but what is often known as a concept map. You have the central idea. From the central idea you have the sub-ideas, and the sub-ideas branch further. So anything that you teach, it is possible for you to tell them, convert this into a concept map or a mind map. What is the central idea? Then the sub-themes, and then each sub-theme gets branched out into finer ideas. So the more branches you have, the more details you provide. Centrally, the main theme. And there is no such thing as a right concept map or a wrong concept map. It is just the way they have perceived things. So when you have taught something, it's easy to say, now convert this into a concept map. And it's easier for people to remember concepts rather than words that are written in prose. That's the one. This is which is the other one? You had 15. Which is the other one?
Other is Alice.
Ah, it's already done. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. I have Professor Rupa.
most populated quadrants. One is quadrant B and the other is quadrant A. And our least populated quadrant is quadrant D. And so interestingly, for quadrant B, two table members have chosen one activity, which is activity number 40, which is explain your solution.
Okay. 40 came in two.
No, in quadrant B,
Okay.
both the participants table members have placed 40 in quadrant B. So
Okay.
out of 3 members, 2 have chosen 40 as an activity and they both placed this activity in B quadrant.
Okay.
And then we have A quadrant, again 3 activities in this, 6, 22 and 15. And our least populated quadrant was D, less time, more complex.
Okay, less time, more complex. Okay, do we always associate time with complexity? If it's more complex, it may take more time. But you got something in that?
Yes.
What was it? What?
It was to invent the quiz.
Okay. Okay. Did you have any unfamiliar or you?
Yes.
What are?
7 clickers, which we've already covered.
Yes.
And 36 is class TED Talk. We know what a TED Talk is, but
Yes.
how are we conducting it in the class?
Okay. TED Talk. Okay. Some of you would have heard about what is it? 37.
36.
36. Yes. Okay. Now the word TED comes from technology, entertainment, and design. And if you have seen on the net, 18 minutes is all that is given to an expert to convey something. But in a class, you obviously can't give 18 minutes. So you tell them you'll have a mini TED Talk. You will talk for 3 minutes. You tell them beforehand, next class when you come, I will request a TED Talk, 3 minutes or 5 minutes, you say, or 4 minutes. You give the core of what you have understood in that 3 minutes or 4 minutes. So you can have many TED Talks. You may tell them beforehand, you can't make them do it right away. It's an activity which you can give as an assignment. Now mind you, these 53, all 53 are not suitable to be just given and immediately assessed. You may give it as an assignment. So TED Talk is something which you can try. So 18 minutes is what we see on a typical TED Talk. We can say we are going to have a mini TED Talk which could be 3 minutes or 4 minutes. So about 10 people can speak in an hour. It's possible.
Thank you.
But this one TED Talk and the other one is already done.
Yes.
Clicker system. Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's go to Dr. Sunil Kumar.
Quadrant C is most populated.
C. Okay. By default, you would have observed, it's an observation, I may be wrong. You might think that when I have a 1 hour class, or I have only this much time, I want more things to be done. You will quickly give activities which can be done easily without too much time waste. That is but natural. So if you want something which people can quickly do, not very complicated, and I also want to save time, I can't waste too much time. Naturally, we will, by default, go to C. We'll keep that in mind. That's why I said on the topic you have chosen what you're going to give your students, because you're also concerned, if I take 20 minutes for this, then where is the time for me to do anything else? So, yes, thank you.
Explanation has been given by you, sir. Because
Okay.
the idea of dipstick is to do it quickly and approximate. So, might be that may be.
Yes. But having said that, please remember dipsticks can also be used as an assignment. You can say next time when you come, next week when we meet, this is what. So that is also possible. That's what I'm trying.
Yeah. And least populated is B. sir.
B. Least populated. Okay, fine. That is more time and less complex. Okay, that's how you got it on your table.
Yeah.
That's fine. All right.
This bit unfamiliar is number 8. Sir. 7 has already been asked.
Which one?
8. Sir. Teacher observation checklist. What sort of observations?
8.
Yeah.
Teacher observation checklist.
This is basically a list of things that an observer is going to look at when observing a class. So you make them teach something. Somebody can teach. One of them can teach, and observing that, you make certain observations based on observing the teacher teaching. It might be on content, on any aspect about the topic, not necessarily about the mannerisms. So it's basically making them look at what is being presented. So you say that one of you will function as a teacher, and when you teach this, we want the others to observe. Otherwise, they will not listen. So we want an observation checklist. That is basically what you observe, I want you to document and tell. So that way they become very keen. Otherwise, if you just say somebody is presenting, they will not listen. To make them listen, you have to make them observe and tell them this is the basis on which you are going to observe. So if you want, you can give the checklist. Otherwise, you can tell them on what basis you are going to make an observation. Thank you so much. So we go to Dr. Alok. Very good. I'm glad you got the feel of this.
Good afternoon, everybody. The most populated quadrant is quadrant B.
B.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that is already explained. But somehow we would like to add something that for the evaluation purpose, for the explanation purpose, for the discussion purpose, it's need more time, and the problems can become less complex.
Okay.
And the least populated quadrant is quadrant D. That is less time and more complex.
Okay. What is that? Did you get? What did you get?
Actually, when we are doing some activity, then we just like to do something that is not much more complex, or in context of time, it will not take more time. But whenever a student get involved in such kind of activities, then we can move forward. We can move forward towards the complex activities. That's why we have chosen this one as the least.
Which was the one? Can you give me the dipstick which you have put in that quadrant?
13.
13.
Yeah.
13 was.
Compare and contrast.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. What you are saying is it may not be very complex, but it might take some time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
And unfamiliar dipstick that we have chosen is 37, that is podcast.
Oh, yes, okay. 37.
Yeah.
Podcast, yeah, our students understand this. This is basically a very miniature version of an audio or a broadcast, where you just give the key things to be said. Let me see if I can get this. I think the mic is not here, but podcast is basically a very brief presentation of something which they can broadcast is very long. This is usually you get about 5 minutes, and we are able to do that very quickly just to give the key. It's something like a very miniature version of a TED talk, except that there is no visual component. It's only an audio component. So that's a point.
Something like voice note on.
Yes, little bit. You just listen to it and you get a bullet presentation on that.
But it remains in your.
Yeah, you remember that. Yeah, it's just what you must remember. Yeah. Something like the headlines that you get in a news sometimes. but just to get the essentials of it very quickly.
And on the other hand, actually we were not able to find the difference between the rate understanding and the teacher observation checklist, that is the 6 and 8.
Okay. So which one do you want to know?
Actually, what we feel that this number 8 is the auxiliary part of number 6.
So which one do you want to know? 6 or 8? Teacher observation we saw. You want to see?
6.
This one. This is very familiar to us. You travel in a flight, or you use WhatsApp, or you use FaceTime. Suddenly, it will tell you, give your rating. Or if you have banking, if you have, they will suddenly say, rate your this thing. You give 3 stars or 4 stars or 5 stars. Something that you ask them to indicate on this particular area. Would you rate this as well understood, not understood? So many people rate something as low, then you are concerned. You may have to redo something, rework on it, or explain. That's all. It's basically a very, very rough idea asking them to just rate your understanding on the topic. So if many people say it's all 2 stars, most of them say it's only 2 stars, then you have reason to believe that you may have to repeat or reinforce it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Shall we go to Dr. Amit Prati?
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon to all of you. The most populated area from my member side is A and C.
You want a type. You want a type A and
Between
C.
A and C. And as per my team advice that it will be more populated due to A is more populated due to check the understanding by giving more complex tasks. That's why it is also the time consuming.
Okay.
And the C, the less time and less complex, due to make it enjoyable and giving confidence to student that the task is not so boring, and it also gives us the quick analysis.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. See, he believes that he should give a task which I want the student to be able to complete easily so that they get confidence. So that's his concern. He says, if I give them something so challenging, they'll be put off. Let me initially at least give some, which is a very good thought. But at the same time, if they struggle through, work together, and work collaboratively, probably there will be more learning. Both are possible, but both are necessary also. So there's no such thing as the best lipstick. It all depends on what you want at the end of it all, and what you want to achieve. So just be aware, if not anything else, this tells you that there are several possibilities in which you can get your students involved. Unfamiliar?
And the least populated, we have again time in D and B.
Okay.
D and B, less time, more complex, and more time and less complex. And
Unfamiliar?
unfamiliar is, that is 42 number. That is
42.
42.
What is 42?
Balance.
Yeah. A poem or a song narrating a story in short stanzas. Not every student may be, if you have an arts and science student, they might be very good. In that group, there might be somebody with that bent. I don't know if I have an example of that, I don't have an example. But they will have, in olden days, there used to be ballads that are sung. People will sing something, and basically it is those who are interested in a little bit of dramatic, little bit of literary, they'll do it. And you can ask them to do it in their own, need not necessarily be in English. You can tell them do it in Hindi if you wish, or whatever with language, just for fun. So the idea is that there is some learning in the process. Somehow we associate learning, two things in life we associate with seriousness. One is learning, second is praying. You always think that we should pray very seriously and we should learn very seriously. Of course, we have to learn seriously and pray seriously, but you can also be joyful. And we have to let our students know it is possible to have a joyful learning, and also we can also play joyfully. So it is possible. This is what basically this lipstick exercise is all about. Let that be a little fun. You need not worry too much about assessment. Assessment in the sense, we are not going to give them marks. In the process of this work, you are learning something.
So one question is from our team side,
Yeah.
that we are a bit confusing about point number 9 and the 11, explaining and describe. It is correlated to each other. That is
Okay, 9.
and 11, explaining and describe. I think it's having the similar.
Yeah, there is something, but there is some similarity. Explaining and explain the main idea using an analogy means a comparison. Whereas describe is important characteristics giving the main idea. So I agree. There is some amount of overlap. These are not mutually exclusive. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So we go to Professor Mehta. We will watch.
Good afternoon.
We are together.
In our group, the most populous quadrant was C. Yeah. The reason was very clear that as a teacher would be using that particular tool, which is less complex and less time consuming, so that the students can understand the concept well. And in this particular quadrant, preference was given to sketches, illustration, and outline.
Okay. Fine.
We believe that teaching is different than a training, and we are basically teachers. So perhaps we should use more conceptual or theoretical input. That might be the reason why we give preference to this particular. And like other groups, the less populous quadrant was D.
D.
Yeah,
More complex, less time.
more complex, less time. And this group was not much familiar with 30 and 35. Simile and negative.
30. This is basically giving you a comparison. This just gives you the what do you want to compare it with? Something that you want to compare, you give them a comparison so that they are able to relate it to something else. As you can see, the solar system, and it's just a sample of how the solar system and the atom is. Like this, many times when we teach, just for them to understand, we have a comparison. So that is a simile. Which is the other one?
35.
35. 35 is, okay. This is, I don't know if you have seen some of our students wearing t-shirts. T-shirts which will have a lot of words written, it will have a shape that is different, and it will have a lot of content. So a tuxedo is that. It is an opportunity for you to have something that you want to depict in the form of words. It's sometimes called wording, and you can, whatever you want to convey, you can do it that way. So basically, a tuxedo, the simplest that we can see is the collection of words that form a shape. And your students will know this very well. We are probably one generation or two generations behind. But if you tell your students, you create a tuxedo, they immediately know what it is. So you are able to create an image with the words. So if you are talking of one particular instrument, you can make words forming that instrument, and within that you get all the keywords of that instrument. So that is taxonomy. Thank you. We have Dr. Arun Paris. This is the one, actually, sorry, I don't know whether I got the wrong example. See, this is the example of taxi. I didn't show it here. You can see the kidney, and inside the kidney you have the content. So it is possible for you to convey that. And this has been done by students. This is actually done by students. They have learned about the kidney, and so it's basically a visual class. Next.
So, as far as the most populated quadrant is concerned, we have B here, where we have certain number of dipsticks, for example, invent the quiz, or we have number 13, that is compare and contrast, or if we talk about describe or evaluate, etc. These sort of points are there because these are the time-consuming activities because it needs time, but they are less complex in approach if we talk about. And the least populated ones are, we have C here, C. There we have dipsticks 27 and 30. 27, for example, if you talk about 3 to 1, interesting, that we can easily wind up, these are less time consuming and less complex in approach. If you talk about simile even as well, if you talk about in terms of certain examples, that, for example, if I say that he fought like a lion, so simply my simple one example can explain everything to my student. So less complex and less time consuming. And then the two unfamiliar dipsticks which we have chosen, one has already been discussed, that is the clickers, point number 7. And then we have top 10 list, point number 47. Though it is very easy to understand what are the most important takeaways, but written with humor, so we need some sort of explanation. The group members even need some sort of explanation.
I don't think I have an example here, but basically, to write with humor, that's what it says. What are the most important takeaways with humor? Every student, just as we teachers do, not everybody has that ability to have that humor and wit. But in every class, there are some students who got that ability to have a little fun and look at it in a humorous way. So if you put them together, 4 or 5 of them together, and ask them to create this, it is possible. Takeaways written with humor. Some humor must be added, and you ask them to do it any way they want. Allow that freedom, and in that laughter and in that freedom, there will be some learning. That's it. It may not always be possible to get it from this thing, but definitely if you group them, most of these activities are best done in groups. So group them into groups of 4 or 5 as we have done in this session. Thank you. Thank you, sir. There is a reference given here. Those of you who take this PowerPoint, that reference is also given there. Humor as a teaching strategy in medical education. It's with reference to medical education, but the same principles apply in engineering or management. We have Dr. Himanshu.
Good afternoon, everybody. According to most populated district, we are known for C, and for less populated it is D.
D.
Yes, sir.
Any reason?
Pardon?
Any specific reason? I know you are all from
Actually,
disciplines, but in spite of it.
Surprisingly, for nobody has chosen any district for D.
For D?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why it is less popular. And for two unknown or unfamiliar districts, we are known for 17 and 20.
17 and 20. We
Yes,
have not
sir.
seen that before.
Actually, we are thinking in terms of how we can apply these two for our engineering environment for problems.
This is creating an advertisement. I'm sure our students are very good at it. Tell them, I want an advertisement on this particular topic. Some of them are so creative, they'll come out with so many ideas. Of course, you can't do this immediately. You may need to give it as an assignment, which they will present maybe a week from now or 3 days from now. You say, I want you to make an advertisement for this particular idea, or you want to sell this idea, I want an advertisement. Please advertise. And how creatively they'll come out, you yourself will be surprised. So that is what is the other one? 20. 20 is a collage. Yeah, this our students are excellent in doing. You tell them make a collage out of this, and they know what to do. So this is something which a lot of ideas group together, and this grouping of ideas, they are very good, and they live in such a way that it's also very attractive. Thank you. The last one. Thank you, sir. Dr. Manipal.
Good afternoon, everyone. Most populated quadrant is A. The least one is B.
Very interesting. Your group got A as the most populated. That is more time, more complex. Very good.
And D as the least populated. The reason is fairness.
Huh?
Fairness.
Fairness.
If the problem is more complex, then more time should be given.
Okay.
And the problem is less complex, less time should be given. That's why less time, more complex quadrant is.
Okay. Alright. Okay. Based on.
Yeah, so that student could not get motivated. Demotivated or motivated.
That.
And to unfamiliar sticks are 7, which we have already discussed,
7, yes.
and 25.
This is simple. KWL is a big word. What I know, what I wonder, I learn. After your teaching, you just ask them what I am sure I know. Then, is there anything that I am wondering about? Are there some doubts? And then, of course, what I have learned. So, basically, KWL is asking them to categorize whatever you have learned into these 3 groupings. So, it's just an activity, just to make them work together. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Any other tips you want to know about, which we did not address? It's possible that we may be having 1 or 2 days. Is there anything that in the 53?
Third one, sir. The
411. Okay. 411 is the inquiry. This is an American article. In US, 411 is the inquiry number. Inquiry number is 411. So whenever you want to ask anything, you dial 411. So you tell a student, now I am 411, meaning you dial me and you ask a question on the topic. Instead of you asking a question, you say, you please ask me a question. So you please dial 411 and ask me a question. So you may make 2 students sit together and you say one will function as 411, that is you ask the other one question. So basically it's a game. Basically it's an activity asking them to have a phone conversation. But that phone conversation you will be asking the other to explain the concept or an idea or something. So basically it is that. So what? Yeah. Any other?
What is the difference between 51 and 52? DB and exit slip.
Exit slip is a small chip that you give. The brief is you make them talk, very briefly tell what you have learned. Exit slip is as they go out. You ask them to write just not more than 10 words. What are the best things you learned today? Or what are the big things you learned today? Just write not more than 10 words. Or just write 3 or 4 ideas. So you can collect those. Very often you can do it as also as an attendance come learning opportunity. You say that you write your own number and write 10 words about what you have learned today. So when you have a compilation, if you find that many of them have written the same thing and they are important concepts, you are happy. But if you find wrong things written, then you have a reason to look at it and then say, I think most of you don't seem to have understood this, I'll try to explain this. So Basically, these are activities you should not give marks. It's basically an element of fun, an element of involvement, and most of all, a participation. And in the process, there is learning. So we always we think that whenever we do something to assess, this is also a form of assessment. We call this as formative assessment. We look at that again later. An assessment which is for learning, to encourage learning. At the end of it, at least you know that there are 53 things that you can try. Don't try all the 53 in one class. Then you cannot do anything. Even one is bad enough. Even one you can try. Some you can try as a cycle. I must thank each one of you for your wonderful participation. It has been very, very lively, your involvement, your participation. Thank you so much. Let's break for tea and come back for the last session. Thank you.
About communication. Are you comfortable?
Yes, sir.
In communication. Good people, wonderful people, but please understand, most of my problem, my difficulty, my conflict, my misery is because I can't communicate. I want to communicate, but I miserably fail to communicate. Professionally and personally, I create so much of problem because I'm not able to communicate. I try to communicate, I struggle to communicate, I want to communicate, I wish to communicate. But in the whole process, I create more problem, more difficulty. Now I don't want to communicate. Right? A simple fact. Now we are grown up. Because we very clearly see whatever you do, impossible to communicate. Impossible to touch, impossible to feel, impossible to understand, impossible to trust. More you try, more you struggle, you create more complications, more gap, more distance. And you're fed up. You're fed up about this whole communication. You try to become silent. But even your silence, people misunderstand. Am I right? They think you are becoming indifferent. You're no longer concerned about me. You no longer care about me. Why don't you speak to me? What happened to you? I am so close to you. Every single day you come. You never speak to me. You never listen to me. You never look at me. What's wrong with you? Are you interested in somebody else? I had enough. Money is so much enough. Okay, I'll follow you. So it's it's not an easy solution, you see. My basic problem is difficult. Because some of things can be so delicate, so deep, so sensitive. How I can communicate? मैं कैसे बोलूं? मैं कैसे बताऊं? I found not easy. And ultimately, I miserably fail. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. This is the most basic problem of all of us. All of us. This is the problem. The person who gives you so much of joy, the same person can give you so much of pain. I mean, and you know how to handle, how to manage, how to live, what to do with this person. You can't do anything. You are stuck. You can't escape. You can't escape. You can't run away. You can't avoid. You have to live. You have to live with that person who is so close to you, but still you can't communicate. You have become strangers. You have become strangers to each other. And this is the ultimate sorrow. People living together for years together, but they become strangers. What has happened to me? That intimacy, that warmth, that affection, that love, everything has disappeared. Love used to be there. Intimacy used to be there. Warmth used to be there. Now everything is empty. Light has disappeared. Only the ashes remaining. The ashes remaining. Everything has disappeared. The flame has disappeared. I only believe in smoke. It's not possible to live, you see. Somehow I struggle, somehow we tolerate, somehow we manage. Tolerance is not love, you see. Tolerance is not love. Compromise is not love. And when you start tolerating people, I very clearly see you are tolerating me. I'm right? No, not you, man. Me, stupid monkey, this me. Naturally, beautifully, joyfully. When you look at people, that smile, that joy must come to your eyes, you see. But when you look at me, you feel so sad. Why this man has come? Not that way. Are you following me? That gap you always miss. That distance you always miss. So many promises, so much of love, so much affection, we are so close together. Now it is everything has disappeared. What is happening to us? Why we live the way we live? You see, are you following me? वक्त ने किया क्या हसीन सितम, हम रहे ना हम, तुम रहे न तुम, वक्त ने किया जाएंगे कहाँ सूझता नहीं, चल पड़े मगर रास्ता नहीं, जाएंगे कहाँ सूझता नहीं, चल पड़े मगर रास्ता नहीं, हम भी खो गए, तुम भी खो गए, एक राह पर चल के दो कदम, वक्त ने की. Very strange how it happened. You had so much of promise, you had so much of warmth, you had so much of love. How come you have changed? How come I have changed? I can't even measure you, I can't even recognize you, I can't even look at you. Good people, but why this distance, why this gap? What has happened to us? All the good days, all the wonderful days, all those beautiful evenings, किधर गए? किधर गए? किधर गए? ओ शाम कुछ अजीब थी, ये शाम भी अजीब है, ओ कल भी पास पास थी वो, आज भी करीब है, ओ शाम कुछ अजीब थी. You have been so close to me. मेरा ख्याल है भी झुकी हुई निगाह में, मैं सोचता था मेरा नाम गुनगुना रही है वो, न जाने क्यों लगा मुझे के मुस्कुरा रही है. Please tell me how I can bring back to your life, oh Kushi, that intimacy, that warmth, how I can bring it back. I'm not joking. Okay, you must leave, see, remarkable people, good people. You wanted to create beautiful gardens, the color, the spice, the songs, celebrations. But what have you created? What have you created? Stupid deserts. Stupid deserts. Nobody seems to come. Nobody seems to care. Nobody seems to speak. Nobody seems to sing. What's happening? Remarkably good people. किसका रास्ता लेके है सौगाई, मीलों है खामोशी, बरसों है तन्हाई, भूली दुनिया तुझे भी मुझे भी, फिर क्यों आ भराई, कोई भी साया नहीं राहों में, कोई भी साथी नहीं बाहों में, मेरे लिए कोई नहीं रोने वाला, ना कोई तेरा ना कोई मेरा, फिर किसकी याद आई, किसका रास्ता दे. Please never ever sing this kind of songs, okay? Please. Don't cry because of self-pity, okay? Are you following me? Never ever curse yourself, never ever blame yourself. This is not the way to live. You should never live in sorrow. Don't cry. पारो नहीं तो क्या चंद्रमुखी है ना. No, I'm not joking. I'm not joking. Nothing should prevent from celebration. Whatever is possible, never ever try. Of course, once in a while you may try. Those years are also beautiful, but don't try. Don't curse yourself. Don't blame yourself. Don't get into the trap of self-pity. Please, this is most essential. You must always come back. You must always bring back to life. This is most essential. Of course, once in a while you may listen to this kind of songs, but never ever make the sadness a permanent component of your living human being. Please never do that. You have been created not to feel sad. You have not been created to suffer. This creation is a beautiful, wonderful, remarkable creation. I found it. And this is only because we are not able to communicate. What is the function of communication? Good people. But unfortunately, I can't communicate. Important things I can't communicate. I miserably fail to communicate. What is communication? What is the function of communication? Especially when it functions as a teacher and especially when it functions as a parent, communication is very difficult. In simple way, remarkable way, creative way, you are supposed to communicate. It is so simple, man, actually. It is so simple. What are you supposed to communicate? I am asking you, what are you supposed to communicate? The basic function of communication is to, you communicate in such a way that you make me feel safe. Are you following me? Nothing else matters. In my presence, you must feel very safe, absolutely safe, completely safe. It's not just speaking, you must demonstrate, you must explain, you must make me see very clearly that I am not against you. I am part of you. In fact, I am you, and you are me. We are not different. You must merge, you must dissolve, you must disappear. Am I following you? Do you think I am different? Maybe this form is different, but your essence, your presence, I am not different from you. Are you following me? This you must very clearly see. This fragmentation, this separation, this division, they are not different. They are not at all different. And that requires communication. Communication, the basic function of communication is to make you feel safe. But what am I supposed to communicate? If I make you feel safe, in my presence I must make you feel safe. Not easy. Whatever I say, do you know why I sing this kind of songs? Not easy. Old man, you see. It's very difficult I sing. What happens when you sing a song? Why I sing a song?
Make us feel safe.
One song is enough. When you sing a song like this, you very clearly see I am transparent. I will remember hardly.
To enhance or suppress the feeling.
Anyway, I am trying to communicate. In fact, what I am trying to communicate, I am just like you. Your problems, your feelings, your fears are just like me. I am not different from you. When you cut me, I breathe. When I cut you, you also breathe. My blood is not red, your blood is also red. That you must see. Are you following me? This is very essential. In your own way, I have no guidelines for this, but you have to make me feel safe. And what are you supposed to communicate so that you can make me feel safe? Good people, your goodness has been communicated. I am right. Your love, your care, your affection must be. Don't you love your people? Don't you love your people? Your father, your mother, your wife, your son, your daughter. Don't you love them? Then why are you so hesitant to communicate that love? Are you not kind? Are you not soft? Are you not gentle? You are like a flower. Am I right? Why are you not so hesitant to communicate that kindness? You got my point? I very clearly see अंदर से इतना नरम, इतना नरम, इतना नरम, इतना soft, इतना gentle. बाहर से why are you so hesitant to communicate that you are soft? What is this problem? The world must see that you are very soft. You are very gentle. In fact, you can't harm any person in this life. They must very clearly see. Okay. But why you are so hesitant to communicate that you are very soft? You have become so hard, so harsh, so tough. But what's wrong if you live with a very softness? Like a flower. Vulnerable. Nobody is always vulnerable. What is vulnerable means what? Vulnerable means what? No, this is ultimate. This is ultimate learning. The power of flower is vulnerable.
This is not forever.
Exposed to suffering.
It is not trying to protect itself. It's not trying to. It's not making an effort to protect itself. Look at you and me. My basic reason is I want to protect myself. Whatever I do, The basic final action purpose is I want to protect myself. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But the problem is you make so much of effort to protect yourself, you miserably fail. Because he is trying to protect himself. Right? Why? That is vulnerability. See. You must live in insecurity. Please live in insecurity. That's the most beautiful way to live. Don't try to protect yourself. Not possible. Not possible. Because when you try to protect yourself, you miserably fail. When you give up that effort, then you will see the magic. Nobody can touch you. I'm telling you, nobody can do any harm to you. You must walk straight. The way Buddha walks, better mind you. And the way he walks, that grace, that beauty, that silence, that joy, remarkable. Because he accepts his vulnerabilities. He is not trying to protect himself. That's the way you must live. Do you think you can protect yourself? What has happened to you? The way you are living today, do you think it's because of your effort? Are you following me? Communication is very essential. What is how supposed to communicate? You must communicate your goodness, your love, your affection. When you go back evening, when you sit with your wife, your father, your mother, your son, your daughter, please tell them how much you love them. Please tell them. Don't hesitate. Don't withdraw. Don't become indifferent. In a simple way, unique way, creative way, please tell them. नसीब से आओ जी भर के देखिए हमको गरीब से another what is wrong? Another what is wrong? Who knows? फिर आपकी नसीब. I'm not trying to make you emotional. I'm telling you a simple fact. I'm not trying to make you sentimental. I'm making you see a simple fact. फिर आपकी नसीब में ये बात हो न हो शायद फिर इस जन्म में मुलाकात हो न हो लग जा गले. That's communication, man. लग जा गले से. Are you following me? It's so simple, man. What's wrong with us? One look is enough, one smile is enough, one word is enough, one gesture is enough. Are you following me? It's so simple, man. But still it's not that simple. Because we have made it so complicated. We have lost that naturalness, you see. You can't do that, you have become so artificial. You can't even use this body. You see, be natural, man. What's wrong with you, man? Now you become so rigid. Your eyes, your face, your body, it is so functional, it is so perfect. Speak, sing, demonstrate, show, sleep, celebrate. Why this problem? Why this problem? Why you have lost that naturalness? Why you have become so artificial? Why you have become so rigid? Because you have been deeply hurt. Long time years back, you were so innocent. You used to do all these things. You used to rush. You used to enjoy. You used to celebrate. You see, you have lost all that charm because you have been deeply hurt. One wound is enough. One wound is enough to drain all your energy, your passion, your joy, your spirit. What, man? Look at you. You have no energy. Don't. When you get up in the morning, many days you don't feel like getting up, am I right? You feel like going back to sleep. Am I right? Where is your energy? Where is your passion? What is happening with you? You are dragging your feet. You are all blood. You must leave the day, oh my God. Unending energy is here, unending. You have so much of energy. That source must be tapped. Life is all about energy, but you have no energy. You know why you have no energy? No passion to live? Because of that hurt. One wound is enough, draining you away, you see. That means intelligence is not to get hurt. Every single hurt must be erased. And don't create any more hurt. And it's going because of problem in communication. What is communication? Are you following? Please don't misunderstand me. I'm not against you. I have only one wish. I have only one prayer that you must be well. In fact, you must be so well. With so much of freedom. that I can make you feel safe? So that I will never hurt you. Why do you hurt each other? On the basis of this you must very clearly understand. So that in this life, never get hurt. I can promise you. Whatever may happen, the whole world may go against you. Every single dream is destroyed. Whatever you expect will never happen. Whatever you plan will never happen. But still you will get hurt. Why we get hurt? And why we hurt others? Every single day you are getting hurt.
Because we are carrying a baggage on our shoulder.
How much burden?
And every time somebody put a garbage on us, we collect that into the garbage.
And you are very happy to carry that garbage.
And we carry that, and next time we find someone, we throw it on them.
My God.
So that's happened. So the best thing is don't carry any baggage at all.
Very simple. Extremely simple.
It's very simple to get detached.
What he's saying is very simple. Now, just right now you must drop everything in the baggage. But don't put it on me.
He said to me, you are incompetent. Okay, I did that. You are not good communicator. I kept it in my bag. He said you are not good looking. I kept it in my bag.
Who said that?
So we start collecting all that. And we look for an opportunity to hang that baggage somewhere.
No place. Only one place. You hang it here. You hang it here. Exceedingly well said. So simple, man. Why do you carry this all garbage? You very clearly see it's garbage, am I right? But still you carry it. Why do you hurt people? Why do you get hurt? Very correct. Good people, you know when you hurt other people, when you get hurt, am I right? If you don't get hurt, impossible, you never hurt, because they're good people. They're exceedingly good. So, but why do you get hurt? So correct, you said, what is the ultimate basis when you are trying to communicate? You say, I'm not that good, I'm stupid, I'm failed, I'm miserable, I'm idiot, I'm no good. That one word is enough. When people say that they are no, and who says that? They are no good. You're failed, you're useless, to Narayan. Who says that? Huh? No, who says that? Who says that? Who says that? Who says that you are useless, you are no good, you are incapable, you are failed? Who says that?
People around us. Every third person.
Who says that? Parents and teachers. Who people? Boss. Who is scared of boss? But you can't shoot your parents, right? Sometimes
you want a salary, that's it. The boss is there till you want a salary. That's it.
who cares? What boss? The parents. No problem. The boss says you don't feel that bad, but the parents say you feel. That's exactly what happens. Parents, my own parents. They will not say so, they are very kind. Please understand their fears. They have one basic fear. That you must live well in this world. That's why they make you aggressive. Am I right? Because they very clearly see the nature of this world is very violent, very competitive, very ambitious. And they feel that my son, my daughter cannot be that capable to live in this world. So they make you run this mad rat race. Are you following? Understand their fear, don't be against them. But in that process, they destroy you. Because they always compare. They do not say so, but you very clearly see. Do better. And that's the speakers. This is ultimate damage. This is ultimate destruction. This I always say that two people who are supposed to take care of us, their parents and our unfortunately, they do the most destruction, most. माना तूफान के आगे नहीं चलता जोर किसी का माना तूफान के आगे तूफान हवा तूफान कोई चलता जोर किसी का मौजों का दो जोश है और किसी का, मझधार में नैया डोले तो माही पार लगाए, माही को दाम डुबोए और बचाए। You are my savior, you are my boatman, you are my supporter man, you are supposed to take care of me, you are supposed to support me, you are supposed to take care of me, you are supposed to take me to the other shore. But if you are going to sink my boat, who is going to save me? चिंगारी कोई भड़के तो सावन उसे बुझाए, सावन जो अगन लगाए उसे और बुझाए। This is my favorite. Whom to trust, whom to not trust, who will support me, who will take care of me, who will listen to me, who will understand my tears, my problems, my difficulties, my conflicts, my burden, my garbage, my sorrow, my suffering. I lost tremendous capacity. I can't trust. Impossible to trust. You want to trust, but you cannot. Because the same people have deceived you. In their own way, I am not blaming them. But in the process of living, people have hurt you, people have deceived you, people have manipulated you, people have cheated you.
वैसे जिसके पास जो होगा वही देगा ना। मेरे पास विश्वास है, मैं विश्वास दूंगा। किसी पर धोखा है तो धोखा देगा, उसमें क्या बड़ी बात है?
But I know that, I see the fact, I see the truth. But still, it's not that easy.
I know it's not easy, but it's all to, self-confidence is there in you. Then people who are surrounded by you and you are surrounded by them, they will also build confidence in themselves. They don't need certificate from others that you are good or bad.
But how do you communicate this? That's the problem.
You are saying this.
How do you convince them? How do you make them see the truth?
Deeds are more visible than words.
Somehow you are trying. That's the challenge. Don't give up. What truth you have seen, you have to communicate. You have to share. And the truth must be seen. Ultimately, very simple. What you are supposed to communicate is you are supposed to communicate the truth. Truth may be hard, truth may be bitter, truth may be difficult, but still, that's communication. I will speak about that. But why do you get hurt? Very simple. Why do you get hurt? Why parents hurt us? Because they compare us, right? Constantly you compare yourself to somebody else. In that process I get hurt. That means if I don't want to hurt you, if I make you feel safe, two things I'm not supposed to evaluate. I'm not supposed to evaluate. A very simple concept. I'm not supposed to evaluate. But if you really want help, if you want to support me, if you want to make the truth, you must describe. Description. Two things. It's very simple. If you don't want to hurt me, if you want to make me feel safe, are you following me? If you want to make me feel safe, two things I'm not supposed to do. I'm not supposed to evaluate, and second thing, I'm not supposed to communicate my secondary feelings. I'm not supposed to communicate my secondary feelings. And if I want to make you feel safe, I'm supposed to describe, and I'm supposed to communicate my primary feelings. Okay? Are you following me? I'm supposed to describe and I'm supposed to communicate primary feelings, but I'm not supposed to evaluate, I'm not supposed to communicate my secondary feelings. A very simple concept, because when I communicate my secondary feelings, I tend to hurt you. Of course, you have immense strength not to get hurt, wonderful, but you must accept you are not that strong. You may be very strong, but I will not be that strong. Alright? So what is
the difference between primary feeling and secondary feeling?
difference between?
Primary feeling and secondary.
We'll discuss that. We'll discuss that tomorrow afternoon. Okay, last session we'll discuss that. But today we'll discuss this one very important concept. What is evaluation and what is discussion? What is evaluation and what is discussion? This is for tomorrow. This is for today. What is evaluation? What is description? Very important communication concept. I'm not supposed to evaluate, I'm supposed to describe. What is evaluation or description? ये क्या है? ये चीज क्या है? इसका मतलब क्या है? What is evaluation or description?
Evaluation is based on comparison.
based on comparison, based on measurement, based on abilities, based on interpretation, excellent, based on judgment. Then what is description?
This collection and analysis of the information and data that you receive.
The perfect clear analysis of the data, what I receive, what I see. Evaluation is when you are not able to see. Description is only possible when you are able to see. This is most essential. Buddha says very simple, if you want to live, you must see. But do you see? In fact, you never see. I am going to make you see that you are not able to see. I am going to prove that you are not able to see. Shall we try this? Shall we try this? What is evaluation? What is description? Okay. Description is only possible when they are able to see. Evaluation happens when they are not able to see. That means you don't see. What is evaluation or description? I will do a small acting. Help you to understand what is description and what is. Are you ready? Are you ready? My acting starts now. Oh my God. Please relax, relax. What are you doing? Waiting. Excellent. One by one, slowly. Waiting. What else are you doing? Waiting. Very good. Waiting.
With lot of aggression.
Huh?
With lot of aggression.
Aggression. I was aggressive. Very aggressive. My God, she was tired. Aggressive. Anxiety. So much anxious. Monkeys are always anxious.
Angry.
Angry, my God. What an angry monkey. Oh, angry, explosive monkey, angry monkey, anxious monkey, aggressive monkey, waiting monkey. What else was doing? Irritated monkey. Abba.
Frustration.
Restless. Monkeys are always restless. Worried monkey. Monkey is worried. Why the monkey is worried? Waiting, aggressive, angry, anxious, irritating, restless, worried. Oh my God, what all things you are saying about me, man? My God. I thought of my friends. Who said waiting? Who said waiting? आपने बोला किसने बोला आपने बोला वेट आपने कितना जी बस इधर वेट who are you to see? Who asked you to see? Hello. कौन मैं तो अंदर ही Look at me. Wait for you. Be very frank, be very straight, be very honest, waiting for you. Maybe no. You are so confident that waiting, you must know you know. बताइए. What student? Which student? हाँ? ये कौन है? ये कहाँ से आई है? आई है कि आया है? आई है. Anybody. But they say. Wait. You know what you're doing? You're destroying your reputation. You're destroying your character. You're destroying your integrity. You know what I mean? You are spreading all kinds of rumors about me. Can I go to Jaipur to wait for? You asked me. My life has been destroyed. You know what happens in such a small world? By evening, that lady in Manipal, she will come to know that I go to Jaipur for wait for. Why are you against me? What is the done to you? Why you destroy this mind? Please understand that this age I can't get a new wife. Waiting. You must be waiting. Who said angry? Angry. You are angry. The whole family is angry. Angry. I'm so composed, I'm so correct, I'm so tranquil, I'm so peaceful. You say I'm angry. Who said that? Who said Irritated. Why you meditate? Please describe. Why you meditate without waiting for something? Please describe what you saw your beautiful natural innocent eyes. Please tell me what you saw. Please describe what you saw. What you saw. Why you meditate? Yes, you meditate without waiting for something. But why you meditate without waiting for something? Please describe. Bataiye.
Because you are continuously looking at your watch.
You say I was looking at the. You say that. You describe I was looking at the.
Watch.
You say that. You please say that. You say I was looking at the. You say I was looking at the. Watch. You say that. I was looking at the door. Am I right? But these doors I was waiting for. You don't say it, okay. Why you made a statement as angry? Please describe what you saw. Why you made a statement as angry?
You can.
I was hitting the. What? I was hitting the. What? Why you say that I was irritated, I was restless? Why you say that I was restless? Why you made a statement that I was restless?
Because you
Because I was pacing up and down, pacing up and down, pacing up and down. But don't say I was restless. Thank you so much. This is most remarkable. What are these?
Evaluation.
These are
Evaluation.
evaluations. These are. If you want to change the behavior, if you want to change the attitude, please describe my behavior. Don't evaluate. Because when you evaluate, what is evaluation? What is evaluation? This is the basic cause for every single hurt, because you simply evaluate. For no reason you evaluate me, and in that person I get hurt. I become very defensive, I start fighting with you. In no way you can prove that I was waiting for somebody. Is it possible? In no way I can prove that I was not waiting for anybody. This is the beginning of a great battle. I resist, I fight, I start the battle. In no way you can prove that you are right. In no way I can prove that I was not right. This is the most basic problem, that you want to prove that you are right, and I want to prove that I am not right, I am not wrong. I must be right, and you must be wrong, and you must be right, I must be wrong. All because of evaluation. But when you say I was looking at the wall, I have to accept. Am I right? I can't fight with you. Because of describing a simple fact, a simple truth, what you saw with your beautiful neck. You see, you are not able to see. Not as one of you. You seem to have eyes, but you never see. If you are seeing, you should have described. Not one of you. Not one of you. Describe. Each one of you, every one of you, you simply evaluate. Angry, restless, irritable, violent, aggressive. Every single thing is your evaluation. But if you want to change my behavior, please describe. Please understand, when you evaluate, I don't understand what's wrong with me. But when you describe, I may able to look at myself and I will change my behavior. This is the basic problem. When I try to change my behavior, I get hurt. And when I want to change your behavior, you get hurt. It's essential. You may ask me, is it essential that I must try to change your behavior? My son's behavior, my daughter's behavior, my student's behavior. Is it really essential that I must try to change the behavior of a person who is very close to you? Because in that process, you destroy me, I destroy you. I'm not joking. The basis of every single hurt is you want to change me and I want to change you. This is the basic problem. But is it essential? Is it required? And it's causing so much of hurt. Is it really essential that we try to change people? Change people in the sense their behavior. Is it essential? Is it really required? It's essential. Especially when you see your young son, your young daughter, and your young student, they're destroying themselves. Am I right? All kinds of rubbish, stupid things. That age is like that. 14 to 21 is a very difficult age. And if you're really sensitive, you can't see them destroying their own life with their own hands. In that compassion, you may wish to change their behavior. Am I right? But in the process, you hurt them, they hurt you. And ultimately, you may lose your son. They will go away. Because they feel that this parent is interfering in my life. my pleasure, my joy. They never understand me. They always abuse, they always judge, they always find fault, they always nag, they always advise. These parents, these teachers, they never understand us. Alright? That means you must have the communication, you must have the intelligence to communicate in such a way that they are able to understand your intention. Your intention is good, right? But those intentions must be very clear. They never see your intention. They think the whole parent, this whole generation is against me. They never understand the compassion. That has to be communicated. I used to be a young boy, you see, such a small fellow, such a nice fellow, such a good fellow, first standard. Oh my God. I still remember, I was so fond of my teacher. Remarkable teacher, wonderful teacher, God teacher, that made him, my God. I want to please her. I want to always remain close to her. I used to love her. Whatever she used to say, I used to, oh my God, for verily she was ultimate. And that she is I used to go to class every single day, looking forward to meet my teacher. And one day she comes to the class, she was a remarkable teacher. And the way she used to teach, especially mathematics, I was so good in mathematics. And one day she says, she comes to class and says, students, are you ready? I'm going to give a maths problem, and the students who will finish the problem first will get one chocolate. I knew that chocolate should belong to me because I was excellent. Nobody can beat me in mathematics. And she goes to the board, she says, are you ready? Sudhakar is always ready. She goes to the board and she says, are you ready, Sudhakar? I am always ready, madam. What's the problem? Please, 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 what's the problem? She goes to the board and she writes the problem on the board. I am always ready, I am jumping, I am singing, I am dancing. Oh my God, what a beautiful day, what a remarkable day. I am going to impress my teacher, she says. And ready, students? Oh, you such a simple problem. Sudhakar jumping. 9, 8, 7, 7, 7. Teacher, 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 teacher. Chocolate teacher, chocolate teacher, chocolate teacher. The way she looked at me, I never have forgotten the way she looked at me. Chocolate was stupid fellow. Idiot. What's the problem? That cross, that scratch, even now, after 60 years, it still hurts, it still bleeds. In front of everybody, she insulted me. See. Young fellow, and I used to love her so much that she destroyed me. She destroyed my innocence, you see. What's the problem? What's wrong with me? Why is scratch? Why is violence? This is violence. That's so simple. She said there must be two vertical lines. That must be interesting, you see. There must be two vertical lines. There must be two vertical lines. One horizontal line. Then 8 here, 0 here, 9 here, plus here, 9 here, 0 here, 8 here. One more horizontal line. Most important, there must be two horizontal lines. 9 plus 8, 17. Sudhakar, you must write that one here. Very important, very crucial. Please describe. Please tell me, please explain. If you tell me, I'm willing to follow. I'm very obedient. I'm not against you. Whatever you say, I will do. But please tell, please explain, please describe. If I can do this, if you tell me, how do I do this? Please understand, my teacher's intentions were good. Her intentions were good because she knew if I do the problem that way, the chances of making error are. Yes. When I was very young age, she thought I must learn the proper way to do problem, but in that process, I lost my innocence. Ultimate tragedy is when you lose your innocence. You see, I used to rush when I with my small feet, small leg, when I used to see my teacher, I used to. That day I stopped rushing. Nowadays I don't rush. My son, my wife, my father, my mother, I don't rush. I don't rush to meet them. I don't rush to smile at them. I don't rush to hug them. The distance, the gap is always there. Because that day I saw very clearly, I never thought, you see, I never thought this lady can hurt me. That possibility was not at all aware that some person can hurt you. That day I was very young. That day was my first lesson. that in this life, the person whom you love, the same person can hurt you. Now I have become very cautious, very careful. I don't rush. Because I see the possibility that you may say you love me, but I very clearly see you may hurt me. What's your love, man? Do you really love? If you really love, you should not hurt me. Am I right? You say you love me, but the same you hurt me. How it is possible? If you really love me, you should not hurt me. Please, don't bring any gift. Nothing is required. Don't say I love me. Don't say I love you. Do nothing. But please stop hurting me. That's your love. But you never do that. What is your love? What is stupid love? I don't want this love. Please. This has you must very clearly see. You are good people, but you don't know how to love. You only hurt. Of course, once in a while you may love, but that is too late, man. मुझे तुमसे कुछ भी न चाहिए, मुझे मेरे हाल पे छोड़ दो, मुझे मेरे हाल पे छोड़ दो. कुछ भी नहीं चाहिए हमको. तुम्हारा पैसा भी नहीं चाहिए, तुम्हारा पेन भी नहीं चाहिए, तुम्हारा सुख भी नहीं चाहिए, तुम्हारा दुख भी नहीं चाहिए, तुम्हारा लव भी नहीं चाहिए, तुम्हारा हर्ट भी नहीं चाहिए. अरे follow me. Please. I think it's so simple, man. That's why I'm asking you. If you really want to love me, please stop. It's a very remarkable thing. Love is such a simple thing, man. But you think is sacrifice करना है, responsible करना है, duty करना है, वो करना है, कुछ भी नहीं करने का है. अरे follow me. प्यार कोई बोल नहीं, प्यार आवाज नहीं, एक खामोशी है, सदियों से बहा करती है, ना ये रुकती है, ना झुकती है, ना ठहरी है कहीं, नूर की बूंद है, सदियों से बहा करती है. सिर्फ एहसास है, रूह से महसूस करो, प्यार को प्यार ही रहने दो, कोई नाम न दो. Don't name it. Don't try to express it. Don't speak about it. Don't do anything about it. It is so virgin. It is purely virgin. Don't do anything about it. Because the moment you try to do something about it, you are spoiling it. Are you following me? Please understand. Be good people, but please understand how much you evaluate every single day, every single moment. What's wrong with you, man?
But sir, it is required. You cannot ignore this.
No, I understand. But please understand. I understand. It's getting little disturbed. अरे ये सर जी क्या बोल रहे हैं? How to live without evaluating my wife? This is ultimate conflict. अरे यार, तो आप जो भी कर रहे हैं, चलिए करते जाइए, कोई बात नहीं है. But you're not able to do it. If you're able to see the truth, you're not able to do it. That's the power of truth. Something happens to you, you're not able to evaluate. That evaluation slowly starts disappearing. That's the beauty of truth. I'm not joking. आप इतना खामोश हो जाएंगे, आप इतना साइलेंट हो जाएंगे, इतना शांत हो जाएंगे. Evaluation, आप बिल्कुल नहीं हो जाते. You can't evaluate. If you want to evaluate, you can't evaluate. That's the power of truth. घबराइए मत. ये हो जाएगा, अपने आप हो जाएगा. आप कुछ भी करने की जरूरत ही नहीं है. Only thing is you must see the truth. See this truth. Are you following me?
Sir, one question, sir.
Yeah.
Don't you think that we can evaluate, but the way we give the results of the evaluation, the feedback, that is very important. Sometimes evaluating when wife is okay, but how you are telling her, that is more important.
How you tell her?
You can use that yes but approach. Yeah. all that she will लेके बहुत अच्छी हो लेके थोड़ा सा ये और कर लो
is very clever woman, okay? वो समझ जाएगी आप क्या नाक हेल्प कर रहे हैं आज. I understand. No, at this point it's confusing. I understand. But we have to go further. But have you understood so far? What is evaluation? Please get it very simple. If you don't want to get hurt, you must stop every single evaluation. Because as long as you evaluate, invariably you will get hurt. And you hurt others. And you no longer feel safe. It is very simple. If I want to make you feel safe, I should not evaluate. I should not get you hurt. And that's very possible. You ask a very simple question. Is it possible to live in this world? You have to work, you have to live, you have family, you have problems, difficulty, but whatever may happen, I will not evaluate. So that I will not get hurt. Very simple question you must ask yourself. Only one question you must ask yourself. Is it possible to live in this world, in this aggressive world, competitive world, violent world, but not to get hurt? I have no answers, but please ask this question to yourself. I will follow you. Shall we proceed? What is evaluation?
Your perception of this question.
You perceive something, you have to perceive something, but what is this evaluation? When you said I was waiting for somebody, what is the meaning of that evaluation? Why you said I was waiting for somebody? What you actually perceived? What you actually perceived? You perceived what? You saw what? You saw that I was looking at the some actions. Then why you said that I was waiting for somebody? That means what? You please listen to me very carefully. You have to go to the root of evaluation. You perceive something, you see something, but you give your own meaning for what you perceive.
Confusion.
That meaning was given by you. Waiting for somebody was a meaning given by you. That is not my meaning. That's why I fight with you. Because for me, that's not the meaning. That's the meaning for you. When you say angry, that was the meaning given by you.
Self-perception.
You perceive something, but you try to give the meaning, interpretation, judgment. To do this by us. In Musalman. Look at him. That's an image, that's an perception. I perceive him, but I give that meaning. He's against me. He's my dushman. My Jana dushman. And he perceives me, Hindu, Brahmin. He must be against me. Look at his Janama, look at his Naam. I follow him. You perceive something, but you give your own meaning. I perceive you, I look at you, but I give all my meaning. And that meaning is the problem. You look at it. What do you see in him? Is he different from you? Is he different from you? Your stupid mind is giving the meaning. And when you give the meaning, you can go and kill him. Otherwise, it's impossible to touch him. If the mind doesn't give any meaning, I can't touch him. I can go and only hug him. Alright? But when the mind gives meaning, very easily you can kill him. Without any guilt, you can kill him. Are you following me? That means the mind always gives meaning. And what's important is, you must understand why the mind is giving this meaning. You must perceive, you can't destroy your eyes. But you must be so sensitive. But please be very careful. Do you please perceive something? Your wife, your son, your daughter, your father, your student, your life, your mind, your tears. Perceive something, but don't give it. Please. Are you following me? This is the ultimate vidya, Chakshumati vidya. Your ability to look at the world without any. My eyes are jaundiced to that. What is evaluation? Evaluation means my eyes are jaundiced. And when the eyes are jaundiced, the world looks yellow. Problem is not with the world. Problem with my eyes. This one simple fact you must see. Don't blame, don't curse anybody. Please, don't fight with anybody. Don't nag anybody. Don't find fault with anybody. Don't criticize anybody. Please understand the meaning. The mind is giving the meaning. You don't like, you don't dislike. Aversion, attraction. Everything is nothing but a stupid interpretation. Stupid evaluation. And that interpretation making you act. Are you following? The remarkable thing, what Buddha says, your ability to look at the world, you must perceive the world, but you must look at the world without giving any meaning. Chakshumati vidya. Thanks so much. Last handout. I'll read this handout with you. Then we can end for the day. I mean, do you understand? It's not easy. This is the ultimate task. Look at the world, look at the people without giving any meaning. You may have to give the meaning, but please be very careful before you give a meaning. I'm not saying you should not give a meaning, but be very careful, very cautious before you give it. You have to be extremely cautious. Chakshumati vidya. What is Chakshu? What is Mati? Wisdom, courage, intelligence. This is the only one Vidya for all of us. All teachers, all parents must have Vidya. Chakshumati Vidya. Yeah. So that is without any evaluation. You are able to look at the world without any measurement, comparison, judgment, prejudice, bias, comparison. Chakshumati Vidya. I'm not saying this. Pardon me. I put very clearly, you are all blind. I mean, you never saw it.
So there is a song of Madonna, if I'm allowed to say that.
Please, please.
You only see what you write about to see.
That's what I want.
How can you see what I want to see? Or change. You you're so concealed with how much you get. You waste your time in getting it there. You're frozen.
You destroy it. I destroy
That's
it.
why it is the same thing.
It's so simple.
It's a state of mind.
State of your mind.
Yeah.
You can able to see. Chakshumati Vidya, man is blind and cannot see. He cannot see that he is. We seem to have eyes, but we never see. We see only the appearances, not the reality. Always miss the real, the fact, the truth. That's why you have known how called man blind. The art or the science of observation or description consists of how to make our life mirror-like, not projecting, not looking at the fact, just looking at the fact, at the reality, at life that people as they are, not creating it, not imagining, not adding any jaundice to it. Encountering the fact, the people, the life as it is. We never see things as they are, we always see through our mind, and the mind goes on interpreting. A girl looks beautiful because a man looks beautiful. Blah, blah, blah. The same man or the same woman was not beautiful the day before. The same man or the same woman was not beautiful again. So what happened? How come a person suddenly becomes so beautiful? And our whole logic is illogical. We say I love this person because this person is beautiful. Please understand. The contrary is the case. This person becomes beautiful because we love this person. The beauty is not the cause, but the side effect of your cause side effect. In this mode of love, I project something on the person. We project our dreams, our hope, our destiny, our fate, our expectations, our needs, and the person just becomes a screen. Your son is a screen, your daughter is a screen, you are a screen. The whole beauty is put there by us. It is we who create the beautiful face. The beautiful is our evaluation and interpretation. It's not the real. Please see. One fact you please see. Because the real is neither ugly nor it is. Do you see this one fact? This because one fact, this one lie can make your life miserable. Ooh, Gori. My God, life is over. She's more beautiful. I'm not that. Life is over. It's a stupid lie. Please understand. Reality is neither beautiful nor it is. This world is cheating you. This culture is trapping you. If man disappears, if in the case we don't evaluate, we don't judge, we don't interpret, if the mind becomes silent, all evaluations, all interpretations, all judgments, all prejudices, they simply disappear. Because the reality is neither beautiful nor self, it's simply that. We evaluate it according to myself. I giving meaning to myself, my conditioning, my background, my tradition, my culture, my conditioning. That's why certain things are beautiful in Kenya are not beautiful in England. Everyone are beautiful in Africa are not beautiful in England. We conceive things through this mind, and the mind goes on evaluating, constantly is evaluating. But we can understand about beauty and happiness. What about other interpretations? If you don't judge, if man disappears, if the mind becomes silent, there will be no good, there will be no evil in the world. Every single judgment is through conceptions. Remarkable story, beautiful story. Beautiful story about a Mohammedan Sufi mystic. This man used to sell small things in the village, and the people of that village became aware that he had no judgment. He will never judge. Remarkable man. What a beautiful man, ultimate man, real man. So they would take things away and we give him false coins. You would never say, you would accept them because you never say, this is wrong, this is right. Sometimes they would take things away from him and they would say, we have paid you. You would never say that you are not paid. Almost impossible. Impossible story. Look at this man, my God. He would say, okay, and you thank them. Finally, a lot of death came in this old man. These were his last words. And he said, Allah, God in the heaven, I have been accepting all kinds of coins also. The false ones also. I am also a false point, so please don't judge me. I have not judged the people whom you have created, so please don't judge me. And it said that how can God judge? Okay? If judgment disappears, we become innocent for the first time. If you don't divide things and people into good and bad, ugly and beautiful, acceptable and non-acceptable, if you don't divide things, if you look at the reality, if you look at the fact, if you look at the people, if you look at yourself, without any evaluation, without any judgment, our eyes will come into existence for the first time. This is Chakshumati Vidya. Looking at the world with fresh eyes, new eyes, innocent eyes. I'm not joking. There's so much of tremendous joy in this world, in this life. Please, when you get up in the morning, please get up, please see. When you brush your teeth, when you take your bath, when you have a cup of tea, when you go for a walk, when you play with your child, when you drive, when you take a class, when you do a project, when you sing, when you dance, when you walk, when you go for shopping, when you sleep, when you listen, please see. Every single thing is fresh. Every single thing is new. This life is always fresh, but the mind is always old. That's why you become restless. That's why you get distracted. That's why you get disturbed. That's why you start searching. There is nothing to search, nothing to seek. मेरे मन ये बता दे किस ओर चला है तू क्या पाया नहीं तूने क्या ढूंढ रहा है तू. The moment you see this word, all search, all seeking, all struggle, all effort, everything is simply empty. And when that ends, then only you start breathing, then only you start smiling, then only you start resting, then only you start relaxing, then only you start living. Please don't make any effort to live. No effort is required. Only this awareness is required. Your ability to approach, your ability to respond, your ability to meet life with fresh eyes, with new eyes, with innocent eyes. कहता है जो कर सारा जमाना आधी हकीकत आधा बहाना चश्मा उतारो फिर देखो यारो दुनिया नहीं है चेहरा पूरा. Mind is always full. Mind is always full. Mind is always full. Chakshumati Vidya is your ability to look at the world without your mind. Mind is required. But this you must explore. I will stop here. Please understand this question. Is it possible to look at this world without mind? Because the mind is evaluating. As long as your mind, you will evaluate. That means, my ability to look at the world without its evaluation means you must have the strength, the intelligence to look at the world without using your mind. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I will stop here. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much. Most powerful, most wonderful evening. I must feel like singing a song. Is it okay? Before I leave, before I die. हम तेरे बिना अब रह नहीं सकते, तेरे बिना क्या